see your name in the list. I'm also going to release the assignment today in Blackboard. And in the assignment in Blackboard, you can just upload the presentation once you complete it, but you're actually going to be graded on not only on the presentation, but also on how you present and your knowledge during the presentation. Okay? And as you can see, the presentation is going to take place here in week 11, so you have plenty of time to do that. And on week 11, what we're going to do, I'm going to sit on your places, right? And you're going to come here on my place. You're going to present the specific topic that you have. So some things that I want to mention. You can use the material, the teaching material that I'm providing you during the class. You can use the references. You can also use my presentation as references if they're related to your topic. But also at the same time, I want you to research outside the studying material. Some of you will even get topics that are AI related, but they're not specifically something that we have studied. If you get such a topic, feel free to do your own research, and this is actually good because we'll all learn something new from your presentation, right? So do your own research. Also, the presentation time for each of you should be about 15 minutes, right? Something like this. Make sure that you fit into the time. You don't present for too much time. Also, you don't present for 1 minute or something like this, right? This is important. Let me see if there's something else. Okay. Also the slides. I mean, everything that I'm telling you, it's going to be also detailed in Blackboard, all those advices. So also the slides and the presentations, try to put more pictures, bullet points, not just a paragraph from the workbook, right? Because this is easier for the viewers to understand, right? So the idea is that we get the knowledge from what you say, and the presentation is there just in a supplementary way. So we also get some visuals, right? And we can follow through. Okay? So any questions about the presentation? Okay. Okay. Yeah, and also before continuing with that, the presentation, just like the assignment, is going to be again 15% of your final grade. So you can see it's higher than the quizzes, right? So put good effort so you get higher grades in the end, okay? All right. So today we're going to talk about different implementation of the ChatGPT APIs, comparing to what we studied so far, and this will be for building desktop applications. So before starting, who can tell me the difference between web applications and desktop applications? Come on, it's easy.
Web application, you can access it from like your laptop and like on the internet,
Yeah.
But then desktop, it has to be like, you have to download it.
Yeah, and install it, yeah. Yeah, true. So, of course, depending on what type of application you create, you have a different business model, right? When you're building your app. In the desktop applications, it is very common that you would pay some price, let's say in the App Store or Google Play Store or wherever, to download the desktop application, or they could be also, you can actually also charge the users while they're using your desktop application as well, okay? And of course, the way that we're building desktop applications is a little bit different. We use different frameworks when comparing to web applications. Actually, in my opinion, it is a little bit simpler to build desktop applications comparing to web applications, to be honest. And why do I think this? Well, this is because the frameworks used for building desktop applications, specifically in Python, usually don't separate front end and back end. You would see from the frameworks that we're going to use, and we're actually going to use the most simple Python framework for that, tkinter. How many of you heard of this type of framework? Okay, you've heard. The rest, you've heard? Yeah? Okay. Yeah, so this is a very simple built-in Python framework. We even don't need to install absolutely any new library. It's already there. And the reason why I'm using this type of framework is first for you to see how easy it is to build actual desktop applications with Python. And second, that will actually help us to shift the focus on the actual ChatGPT APIs. Okay. So, as I said, the fact that we don't need to use any front end such as HTML, CSS, and so on has its advantages and disadvantages. The advantage is that we need to write way less code. We don't need to have a significant separation of the files, right? And we work with less programming languages. We work actually only with one, with Python. The disadvantage, of course, is that since you're using one framework without a front end, of course, the design of your application is you're not going to have actually that many opportunities to do some design that is appealing to the users, right? Since this is a basic desktop application. There are also other desktop frameworks that you can use. For example, there is PyQt, okay, and there you have a little bit more options. But by learning tkinter, it's also going to be easier for you to build applications with the PyQt as well because they are quite similar. Hello, come in here, no problem. Okay. Okay, so what are we actually going to do and how we can build desktop applications with ChatGPT and what's the whole idea? Why do we need to build applications, desktop applications with ChatGPT? One of the main reasons that you want to build your own desktop applications is to integrate ChatGPT with other functionalities, frameworks, and so on. That way, you can create a very optimized application for specific task that you want to complete, okay, and run it on your own desktop, right? So here are two examples. Let's say if you want to integrate ChatGPT with Outlook, you can use the OpenAI API and integrate it with the Win32.com Python library. Okay. If you want to integrate ChatGPT with Word, so let's say you want to create some text with ChatGPT and then automatically save it in a Word document, you can use Python docx, right? So for example, let's say if you want to create an app that builds cover letters from text, right? You can actually create an application that passes your request to ChatGPT. ChatGPT generates a cover letter and finally it saves it in a Word file. That way you're going to save plenty of time, okay? And you can create multiple cover letters easily, okay? And finally, this is going to be the application that we will build today. So today we're going to build a simple language translation application using the ChatGPT API, tkinter, and also the Python docx library. So the idea is you're going to have one drop-down menu right here from which you can select a language. Okay, I created a limited set of languages, but you'll be able to write as many languages as you like. Okay, and I'll show you how. Then you have the browse button, and with this button, once you select it, okay, you'll be able to choose a Word document that um, has some text inside, right? And finally, once you choose the Word document, okay, then the translated text will be shown in this field right here. Okay, so this is the idea. Okay, so now we're going to start building the application. Before that, any questions? No questions? Everything is clear. Okay, that's good. All right. So as always, you can create a new PyCharm project like we do every time. Okay, set up your virtual environment, and then we're going to start building our new application. Okay, so as you can see here, I'm creating a new PyCharm project, right? Click create. All right, and this is your new project. Okay, so as always, no different from any other projects that we have. You can now install OpenAI, and I will also show you how to install the Python docx library too. Okay, so any problems until you reach to this stage? I think by now everybody's pretty much all set, right? Okay. Okay, so let's do pipe. Okay, firstly, you just need to make sure that you're into your virtual environment right here. Okay. So if you're not, you can just activate it. Now let's do pipe install OpenAI, and then pipe install Python dash docx. Okay, so after that, I'll do the steps a little bit more quickly. So, yes,
The second package is there installed.
yeah. So it's called Python docx. Let me just go up.
You can just do upper arrow mark.
Say again.
You can do upper arrow mark. You can see the command. You want to know like that.
Oh, yeah. Of course, yeah. I understand what you mean. Yeah. So it's Python dash docx.
Thanks.
Okay. Should I write here? Okay. Okay, all set with the package? Yeah? Okay. Now, after that, I'm going to create a new Python file. I'll name it config.py. Okay. And then I'll put here the API key like we do every time. Okay. I will just copy it from Blackboard. Okay. All right. Now, once we cover the basics, now we can start building our project. Okay. And just before that, so you're seeing that pretty much for every project we start with exactly the same steps, right? So I hope that this repetition will make it to really remember those steps, right? So for every project in the future, you even don't need to check and you know exactly what to do, right? For every AI project, you can start with those steps literally every time, okay? And after that, this will make sure that everything else works in your Python project, okay? Okay, so now let's first import all the libraries that we need. So I will do from OpenAI import OpenAI. Okay. After that, I will import docx. Then I will also import the, actually I will do from tkinter import tk. Is it visible? Yeah, I know. Okay, once we start using them, they will lighten up, so you'll be able to see them better. Okay, so after that, I will do from tkinter import file dialog. Okay, and actually here the previous line, I don't want to import this class, so I'll actually do import tkinter as tk. Okay, okay, and finally I will import the config file. That's it. Okay, so once we're done with that, I will do client equals to OpenAI, and here in the brackets I will put the API key. So I will do API key equals to config dot API key. All right. Okay. So once we're done with that, we're going to create our tkinter application. So I'll write root equals to tk dot tk, and after that I will do root dot title, and here I will put the title of our application. So you can put whatever title you like, but in this case I will put text translator, okay? Since our application is going to translate text. Then I will do root dot configure, and I will put a white background. So I will do bg equals white. Okay, and actually here I'm going to write the last line. Actually, we're gonna keep this line last, which is the one that is actually running our application. So I will do root dot main loop. Okay, so I think even now if I run it, you should be able to see something here. Okay. Okay, so once you complete those lines, please click the play button and make sure that you're actually seeing this window appearing, okay? And so once you make sure that you have this window, then we're going to sort of start putting elements into the window. Okay, this is the whole idea. I mean, you see the. All right. Now, maybe I should wait a bit. Okay, so let's continue. Now, since we don't have, as I said, front end here, we will define some design parameters straight in the application. Of course, you will need to write, again, way less code comparing to if you would need to create the whole HTML file, right? As it's in the case of the web applications. So let's start. So first I will create a variable called header font. Header font. Okay, and this will be equal to, firstly I will define the font, so it's gonna be Open Sans. Okay, then the size of the letters will be 16, and also we want the text in bold. Okay, and later I will pass this variable to our header. Okay, so I don't write this directly there. Okay, now I will create the header variable. So header will be equal to tk dot label, and here I will write root, which is our application. Okay, then I'll do comma, text, and the text will be equal to text translator. Okay, then I'll set again the background to white. Okay, and finally the font will be equal to the font that we just created right here. Okay, so this is our font. Okay, now we're going to add some parameters for the positioning of our header as well. So I will do header dot grid. Okay, so we'll have only one row, so I will do row equal to 0, column equal to 0, column span will be equal to 2, and then the padding will be 20. Okay, so this is just for positioning. Even if I don't add this, our application will still work. It's just that not going to have the best design. Okay. Now, after that, we're going to create one of the important elements in our app, and this will be the button with which we browse the files. Okay? So, I'll create a new variable here. Actually, wait. Okay. So, let's create a new variable, and it will be closed browse button. Okay. And here we'll create a new button. So to create a new button in tk-enter, you need to write tk dot button, okay? And then in the parentheses, I'm going to define the parameters or how this button is going to be displayed. So firstly, I write here root, since it's going to be in our application right here that holds this name. Okay. Hey guys, yeah, come in. Okay. Then the text in our button, let's check the design, right? We have a design of our application. So the text in our button is going to be browse. Okay, so I write here browse. Then the color of the button, you can choose any type of color, of course. I have a specific color code that I will use. I think it's a shade of gray. So the code is 426782. Okay, so because I don't want you not to understand what those numbers means, right? If you need to pick a color, you can do that from Google actually. I can just do color picker tool, okay? And here from Google, you can select the color that you like for the applications. Then move this dot here and you can see this is the hex representation of the color, okay? So this is how I pick my colors, so I don't make these numbers up, right? I just decide from here the colors that I like and then I copy them into my application. You can do that for any type of application. It's a very good tool and simple, okay? Okay, so then I will create as a block. You can also define other parameters like border width. So I will do border width. In this case, I will make it equal to 0. You can make other device. I mean, you can make another number here. And also in the buttons, right, you have usually two colors. One of them is when the button is displayed to you, while the other type of color is when you click on the button, right? So you need to define this as well, right? What's going to be the color when you click on it. So here I will do active background, okay, and here I will select another color. So this will be 426. Let's say 783, for example. Okay, then let's do active foreground. Let's do white. Okay, and finally, it's the most important parameter for your button, and this is the function that this button is going to run. Okay, so why desktop applications are so simple? This is because you can easily create a button in that way, even if you don't define those design parameters. That's okay. But here you can just pass the function that you want this button to run and then write the function in Python, and once you click the button, this specific function in Python will run. Okay, so here I write command, okay, and I write browse file. You see that function in red because we haven't created it yet, but later on we're going to create the function and then you're going to actually use it, right? Actually, so everything works when we test it out. Here, before defining the root of the application, I will actually create a function. So I will do def, then the name of the function, okay, and then I will do pass. That way I don't get errors when I create a function, but I can have it created so my application is able to run even without it. Okay. Actually, it's command. Okay. All right. So now we can add some configuration to our button. So let's do browse button dot config, and here we can add the font of the text in the button. Also we can add the width and the height. Okay, so I will do here font equals, okay, and here I will define the font Arial, again 12, and bold. Okay, then I will define the width, which is going to be 10, and the height, that is going to be equal to 2. Okay. After that, we can also define the button grid, so how it's going to be positioned on our screen. And you can do that by doing browse button dot grid, and just in the same way like before, we will define a row. So it's going to be on the first row. We have column, so 0 column. Then we're going to add some padding on the x directions, which is going to be 20, and also some padding on the y directions, which is also going to be 20. Okay, and this is how you're done with the button. Okay. Also here, when I wrote the foreground, I did a typo. It's black, not block. Okay. Okay. And as you can see, this is how your application currently looks. This is the button. When I hit it, nothing happens, right? It just changes the background when I hit it. But obviously our function is not activated because it just has the pass keyword there, so nothing would happen. Okay, so once we are done with our browse button, how is it going there? Did it work? Okay. So once we're done with the browse button, the next step is going to build our two other elements, right? And the first one is the drop-down menu with the languages, okay? And then the second one is the text field, which is obviously more simple. So let's first build the languages, right? The languages drop-down. So it's very easy to build a drop-down in the tkinter. Firstly, I will create a variable called languages, okay? And here I will create a list. And here I will create the languages that I like to have in my application, okay? And we can create them as strings. So I have my languages here. Feel free to choose whatever languages that you like or you're interested in translating, okay? So what I chose is, since I'm originally from Bulgaria, Bulgarian. Okay. Then I chose Hindi. Okay. Then I chose Spanish. Okay. And finally French. Okay. So my application will have those languages. Your application might have something else. Okay. So now once we have this list, now we need to create the drop-down menu. Okay. And I'll create here a variable, so it will be called languages underscore var. Okay. And this will be equal to tk dot string var, and then I write here root. Then let's do languages var dot set. Okay, and now I will set the text that will be displayed will be the first text in my list. Okay, so languages 0 is Bulgarian. After that, I will create now the languages menu, which will be our actual drop-down menu. So I will do here languages menu equals to tk dot option menu, and then here I write root languages variable, okay, and star languages. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to create a new drop-down menu, which is going to be in our application, so in the root. It will display initially our language variable right here that will have the language Bulgarian. And also, once we click on it, it will display everything from our languages list. Okay. And after that, we just need to do some configuration. Okay. So I'll actually just copy it from the other file because I want to save some time. I advise to do the same because we already know how to do configurations. So I'll just go here. Okay. So what we do here, we just configure the font, the width, and how it's going to be displayed inside our window, right? Something that we already did. Pretty much this is our front end, those two lines of code for this particular element. The initial lines were the functionality of our element. Now, after that, we're going to create the text field, okay? And this is also quite simple. So let's create a new variable called text underscore field equals to tk dot tk, actually tk dot text, and now here I write root, and also you can again copy this from Blackboard, I don't mind, because this is again going to be the height, the width, the colors, and so on. And this is what I will do here. Okay, so I'll just come here and copy the rest. Okay. So you can see here we set the height, the width, the background, the foreground, the relief, the border width, and the wrap defines pretty much what type of information is going to be inside. So in our case, it's going to be words. Okay. And after that, again, we're going to define the grid as well. Okay. Alright, so now if I run the application, you can see that now we have all the buttons needed, right? So we have the languages right here, the menu, we have the button that when we click it nothing happens, and we also have the text field where we can edit. I will leave the option for us to be able to edit the text field, and this is because if the translation is not entirely correct, we can actually edit the text before copying it. Okay. Now below, I'm adding some additional lines for configuring the window, right? They will not change much the outcome, but I will just add them for consistency. So I will do text field dot grid column configure, okay? And this will help us for when we resize the window, so we're more concise and the elements doesn't just move around. So I'll write here 0, comma, weight 1, okay. So this is for the text field, and then let's add some configuration for our window. So I will do grid row configure 2, then weight is going to be 1, then root dot grid column configure is going to be 0, the weight is going to be 1, and finally root dot grid underscore column configure 1, and weight is going to be 1 as well here, okay. So this is some additional configuration for our window, and with this pretty much the display of our application is completed, okay. So as you can see, when I run it, everything looks good, right? When we resize it, you can see that elements always stay in the middle, which is what we want. Maybe as an additional task would be the text area to get resized with the window, right? Because you can see that when expanded, it stays the same, okay? But of course, this is not the main topic of our exercise, but it's also a good feature that we can add. Okay, so now once we have the actual window created, now we can start building the functions, right, for translating the text and for browsing the file. So the front end we already have. Okay, so now firstly I'll create the browse file function, okay, since this is what we call right here. And after that, so the idea is that firstly we browse the Word file, and after that we send the text from the Word file to ChatGPT, and then we generate the translation, okay. So let's do that. Firstly, I will do file location equals to file dialog, the function that we imported from tkinter. This is a function used for us to access files, okay. So file dialog dot ask open file name, okay, and with this option, this will allow us to open a new window with all of our files, and after that we will be able to select one of the files located in our computer, okay. Now here we can set some parameters, right? So for example, we can set the initial directory, okay, and if you put backslash here, it will send you initially in the first directory of your project, which is important, so you don't need to search that much if your file is there, the one that you need. Now after that, okay, we can set a title of the window that appears. So let's say here, select file, okay? And finally, which is something very important when you create a file dialog, is to define what file types are going to appear as active, right? So, you know, from the rest of the programs that you use, sometimes if you need to select the file, only the files that you can select and that you need are highlighted. Because if all files are highlighted, imagine you select a file that is not a Word document, right? That way, you're going to get an error, and we don't want that. So let's do file types, okay? And here, I'll create this list here, and we're going to write Word files, comma, okay. And here I will do plus docx, actually plus dot docx. Okay, so every file that ends with docx is going to appear as active. Okay, and after that, let's say if you want to be able to select other types of files, you know, you can add them here, right, in another one. So let's say if I want all files, right, let's imagine there is any other type of file, you can just do dot star, right? In our case, we don't really need that. I will just add it there so all the files appear as active. But normally, if you want only the docx files, or also you want PDF files, let's say, you can do here, for example, .pdf as well. That way you can add multiple file types. Yes.
What if I want to select Excel?
Yeah, you can also add Excel, yes. I mean, in our situation, if you add Excel when you select it, you'll get an error or you'll get a rubbish data, right? But if you use tkinter for any other type of application, you can define wherever you like, okay? All the file. So if you want to select Excel, I think you need to write XL. Yes, exactly. So you can do that. Okay. And here it's another star, right? So file starts however we like and it ends however we like. Okay. So once we define the file location, now we need to use it, right? So I will do if file location. So if the user selects a file, okay, then something should happen, right? The main thing that should happen is that we take the text from the file and send it to ChatGPT. So let's do this. Firstly, I'm going to create a variable called target language, okay? And the target language will be equal to language var dot get. And put your attention here. So this is a way with which you can extract information from every element in tkinter, right? So in our language variable, we're going to hold the single language that we selected. Now we want to take this language and pass it to our browse file function. So we're going to define the name of the variable and use the get function for that. Pretty simple. This is why I'm saying the tkinter is very simple application to work with. Okay, now let's do translated text, and this will be equal to, okay, so here I'm going to actually use a translate text function, so I will do translate text. Obviously you're getting an error here since this function is not created yet, and this will be the function with which we contact the ChatGPT API. So I'll write it here, right? So I will do translate text def, okay, and pass. And later we're going to build this function too. So translated text will be equal to translate text. And this function is going to take a few parameters. So in order for us to translate text, firstly, we need the file location, okay, the word file location. And after that, we also need the language to which we want to translate. So target language, okay? Now, once we do that, what we want is to clear the text field that we have on the application and put the new text there. So I will do text field dot delete, okay, and inside I'm going to put 1.0 tk.end, and this will make sure that we delete the text until the end, right, until the last letter. And finally I will do text field dot insert, okay, until the end, okay. And what do we want to insert here? Come on guys, what do you think?
The converted text.
The what?
The converted text.
Okay, yes. In which variable is that text? That's good, good start, yes. What do we want to put here?
Wherever we are saying the response.
Okay, which one is that variable?
The translated text.
Correct, yes. The translated text. Right, so the translated text will take the response from ChatGPT from this function, okay, and it will hold our translated text. Okay, and as you can see, we're going to put it here. Now you see those warnings right here because this function, as you can see, doesn't have yet the parameters. It doesn't have parameters to pass as an input, but we're going to change that. Okay, so here, of course, I'll create locally to the function the parameters file location and target language. Okay. Oh, okay. All right. And actually, let me see if we can run that. Okay. So now when I hit browse, as you can see, now I can browse through my files. Okay. So let's say you can also download this from Blackboard, right? But I will actually use the file from here. So if I use, okay. So see, I have a file right here that is a Word file. And actually you can see that I don't see this file as available, which means that I need to do some modification in the file types that I selected in the application, right? So I will need to fix that. But you should be able to select this file and then run it through the application, okay? So let's see. Yeah, so here I wrote plus instead of star, and this is my mistake. So once I remove that, okay, and I go to here, and you can see that the file is now available, right? So if I click open, you can see that nothing happens and I actually get an error, right? And the reason is because we haven't yet created our function, okay? And now this is what we're going to do next. We're going to create the translate text function. And obviously this function is the one that will get the text and send it to the ChatGPT API. Okay, so let's do that. Now, in the translate text function, I will create a new file called doc. Actually, first of all, are you able to browse through the files? Yeah, nice. There, are you able to browse? How are you doing there, guys? Okay, you look very focused, so let's see. Okay. So now, guys, first of all, any questions, any issues? Okay. So now, guys, the last step, of course, the most exciting one, which is us communicating with the ChatGPT API and actually getting our translation to the application, right? So, as I said here in this function, we'll create the Word document, right? So we need to pass the Word document as a variable in our code if we want to use it, right? So I will do doc equals, and here we're going to use the docx library dot document, and after that we are going to pass our file location. Okay, that way we're going to pick the file from there and assign it to our doc variable. Once we do that, let's create another variable, text, and later we're going to append the text from the doc file to our text variable so we can have it in our script. Okay. So, we're going to take each paragraph from the doc document in that way. So, I'm going to say for para in doc dot paragraphs. Oh, here is doc, sorry. Okay. Okay. So for each paragraph in the text, what we want to do is to append it to our text variable right here. Okay. So you can do that in a very easy way with Python. So I can write text plus equals to para dot text. Okay. So what we do here for each paragraph from the text, for each paragraph from the Word document, we take the text of that paragraph and we append it to the text. Plus equals means that on the top of the previous text, I'm adding the next one. Okay? All right. So now we have the complete text from our Word document. What is the next step? Okay, I'll try to give you a hint. So now here we have, actually here we have our target language. Okay, for example, Spanish. Okay, here we have the text that we want to translate. So we have the language, we have the text, the language, the text. So the next job that we need to do is we send to ChatGPT. Exactly. Yeah, this is the next step. So let's do that. So I will do model engine will be equal, and here I'm going to specify the model. So I will do GPT dash 3.5 dash turbo. Okay. Then we're going to take the response just like any other time. So response equals client dot chat dot completions dot create. Okay, and here we're going to pass all the parameters that we always do. So firstly, I will pass the model. So model equals to model engine. Then the messages, okay. To save time, I'm just going to copy them from the code in Blackboard. Okay, so those are the messages, right? Okay, and let's see what we do here. So first of all, I prepare ChatGPT that he's going to be a translator. So I'm saying, you're a professional language translator. Below, I will ask you to translate text. I expect from you to give me the correct translation. Can you help me with that? Okay. And then ChatGPT says, yes, I can help you with that. And after that, I ask ChatGPT to translate the following text. And I say, translate the following text in. After that, I will pass the target language. Okay. And after that, I will pass the text. Okay. So once we do that, and we pass the messages and the model, I'm not going to add any other parameters. I'm not going to limit ChatGPT to the number of tokens, since we have a specific text that we send to it. Okay. Actually, here's response. And after ChatGPT replies to us, we will have the translated text into our response. Okay, so the final step is just to take it from there. So I will do translated language equals to response dot choices at position 0 message dot content, and this will be our translated text. Okay, and finally I'm just going to return the translated text. Actually, I don't know why I wrote language. Text. Okay. So yes, this variable here will have our translated text, and down here, okay, the translated text that comes out of this application will go into the browse file function, okay, and then it will be printed right here. Okay. So now let's run the application and see. Okay, so I'll select Spanish. I will browse. Okay, I will take this file. I will open it. Okay, and now let's see. So you see here, we have our text translated in Spanish. Okay, so here is a text. I can just copy it and just use it. Okay, so we created something similar to Google Translator, right? Of course, you can expand your application even more by adding more languages here. You can add another drop-down menu for languages to translate to and from. Okay, and pretty much all other features that you can imagine. You can also add a button where you can save the text in another Word file. Okay, and this is the idea. Okay, so let's see around if you are able to get similar results. How is it going here? You got it? Nice, congrats. Nice.
How is it going here?
Okay, guys, so uh, this was the app for today, right? I hope you enjoyed and you learned something new, right? How to use TK integrate it with ChatGPT, and also integrate it with the Microsoft Python docx library. Okay. Now, another topic I want to talk with you about is something brand new that just came 1 week ago, and just want to share with you if you heard something about it. Okay. So have you heard OpenAI also is going to release? Last week they released the initial page for a new API that will be able to generate videos from text. You heard about it? Yeah, exactly, yes. So I don't know when they're gonna release the API, okay? But if they release it, if you're lucky and they release it before the end of the class, I will also try to create some project on that, okay? So you can really be like the cutting edge of technology, right? And I think it's going to be a really is I think if this works in the way they say, it's going to be really a big game changer for a lot of industries, right? So if you start thinking for how to build applications with that app, maybe integrate it also with ChatGPT or other tools, it's very useful to create like stock footages. You can create, let's say, a YouTube channel or Instagram channel with reels, videos, right? And so on. So it's very exciting times we're living in, right? All right. So you heard about it? Have you watched like some of the videos that this app can generate? Okay. Uh, how many of you actually watch the videos that this app can generate? You watch something?
Yeah.
Okay. How about the rest of you? Do you want to see some of those?
I watched with Gemini.
With Gemini you watched? Okay. So, um, so far I think it was like 1 year ago or something when they started generating, those deep fake videos and actually put AI into generating videos, right? And they were looking like pretty bad, and in most of them you can say they are fake. But imagine you just write a text and you can create something very realistic. So, see for example, how it was called, Sora, yeah. Yeah, just I want to give you some heads up. Yeah, for example, see this one. So this is like completely AI generated, right? So what they wrote, they simply wrote, uh, create a woman that is walking in Tokyo, uh, and there is light reflection, okay? So this is the only thing you need to do, and then you get this, right? Pretty amazing. Uh, I think there was also, for example, you say, I want to generate a trailer for a movie, right? That go to another planet, and those are artificially generated people, everything. Drone footages as well. Like for example, if you don't want to spend money or to buy drone, you can just say generate me drone footages, animations, right? Very detailed videos right here, as you can see. Okay, there was also one with, okay, it's not here. See pirate ships, I think, in a coffee cup. In this, for example, a guy reading a book on a cloud, right? It looks very real. Yes, it's crazy. So if they actually release this and everybody is able to do that, it's going to be a very big thing. Just want to give you heads up to see if you haven't seen it yet, just to see what things they are building. Also, you can check in. I think in the OpenAI account in YouTube, they are posting even more videos like this. Like for example, they wrote create three puppies playing together, right? And it's like very detailed. It's shocking. Okay. So I'll keep you posted about this. If they release the API, I will try to do something with the API, some simple project. so you see how it works. Don't have very high hopes because I think they release it now and then maybe after 1 year they're gonna actually put the API. But yeah, let's see. All right. So that's all for today. Uh, Make sure you prepare for the presentations, right? You have 1 month time. And I think we are also going to have another assignment, but let me just see if it's going to be soon or not. Okay. Okay, so there's no other assignments before the spring break, which is good. Next time, I think we're going to continue with topic 6, which is we're going to create image generation applications with DALI API. Okay, this is what we're going to do next time. Okay, don't forget, if you haven't, to complete your assignment 1 by tonight and quiz 2 also by tonight. If you have any issues, drop me an email, okay? So we actually resolve it and you don't lose because it's a lot of points, okay? All right. Okay, that's everything, guys. Enjoy your evening. Thanks, everyone. Oh, any questions? There, question, yes? Assignment? Okay. Yeah, so the rest, if you need to go, you can go. If you have questions,